Hey guys, Maniac here, and this is Mind of Maniac. This is an opportunity for me to just kind of talk about just various things in the gaming industry with all kinds of different stuff that's not really tied into one particular gaming franchise. It's just my opinion based upon what I've read, what I've experienced, what I've done. Might throw in a personal story, might throw in some ideas. But I do want to hear your comments on this. So what I'm going to be talking about today is GameStop. Now I just want to preface and say that this whole video, or the amount of this time of this video, is not going to be a bash on GameStop. I am not going to do that. I actually am I admit to having like a love-hate relationship with them. Some of their policies I like, some of their policies I don't like. And I'm going to get into that just a little bit. But I just wanted to talk about them just a little bit. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was that there are certain things that I actually do like. Now, like I said, I'm not going to bash it. If there's one person out there, if you actually do want to see a really good GameStop bashing, then try to find this guy named Whistleblower Zero. Just look him up online, see if you can find some of his videos. They were taken down from YouTube, but you might be able to find them elsewhere if you are the one interested in a GameStop bashing. But since like I said, I'm not going to bash them. And I just wanted to talk just a little bit about them and what I thought about them. I actually was appreciative that GameStop existed back when I first became aware of them, because back in the day, like 10, 11 years ago, the only places that I could actually get games were in places like Kmart, Caldor, just old, stores like department stores and stuff like that, that maybe if you're lucky enough might have an electronics section. It would usually be one area sequestered off, really small, locked down. You had to buy the games there on the spot, and you were basically stuck at the selection of whatever that place might have. Or you could go to CompUSA, which is also now gone. But they usually only sold gaming software and PC software. It wasn't until later on that they started selling console games. So, just the fact that GameStop's actually started coming into my area was actually when they first started coming in very exciting to me. And the reason why was because I was like really appreciative that here was a store that was dedicated to actually selling games. I could go in there, I could look around at games, I could browse the shelves, I could pick up what I wanted, ring them up, get it home, play it, bring it home and play it. In fact, actually, back when there were stores like Software, Etc. and stuff like that, or electronics, when GameStop was also electronics boutique, I always remembered having positive memories of going out, driving out 20 minutes to a mall, which had both the Software, Etc. and a electronics boutique, and actually going back and forth between the two of them, looking for the best deal. The Software, Etc. back when it really was a Software, Etc. had a really great time just going through the PC game bargain bin. The games wouldn't be opened. They would be like 20 bucks a pop because they were older games. They were still fantastic games. I could pre-order what I wanted, and then I could like go to GameStop, or I'm sorry, Electronics Boutique, or EB Games, if you will, and pick up something different, that maybe Software Etc. didn't have, or that EB Games had for a lower price. Now, when GameStop absorbed those companies, they've changed their policies in some cases, and I stopped kind of getting into that, but for the most part, they actually did have some really good policies that I happen to like. In particular, I don't mind their pre-order stuff. Like, I actually think it's really interesting what they decided to do with the pre-order stuff. That is that you could go to a store, it's like, games are finite. As a package, not for downloadable content. Downloadable content is something different, but for retail packaged games, there are only so many of them. They do a run, you have like your amount of games, it's distributed amongst the retailers for what they want, and you go to the retailers and pick them up. If your retailer is sold out, and there's not going to be any more made, or they're not going to be getting any more shipments, then you're on your own. You have to find the game somewhere else. Either buy it off someone who's already, buy it used, or have to keep going to different stores until you find a store that might actually have a copy. So having pre-orders is actually a good incentive is actually a really interesting thing. How do I put this? It actually makes it, on many occasions, on a few things. One, flexible payments. you don't have to pay the whole thing up front. You know, you could put $5 down and pay the other $55 later on. You could put $5 down, then a week later put $20 more down, and a week later put $20 more down until you actually, and then pay off your balance when it comes out. That's actually a really cool thing. I mean, I know they do that kind of stuff with layaway and stuff like that. And actually, people have appreciated, that kind of payment systems. Like having a layaway system is actually a good thing. It is in a lot of ways like that. And for some people, it's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have. Either their income only has so much or something along those lines. But if you want to think about it like that, a lot of people are actually appreciative that that kind of payment system exists. So I'm not going to knock that. It also, I know a lot of people have complained that they only all hold their games for 48 hours and stuff like that. But for the most part that I've seen, they don't really do that anymore. I've seen at least a week. Either they've changed their policies or something else entirely, because I have seen the GameStops hold their games for a hell of a lot longer than just 48 hours. So my guess is they must have changed those policies. And again, that's just really cool. Like, let's say you're going to be on vacation or something like that. You won't be able to pick up the game on release. But when you come back, they'll have it for you. Fantastic. Great. That's great. And also, there's, of course, the day one DLC codes that are free, the early access to demos, betas, all that kind of stuff. Also great incentives to do that kind of stuff. Usually GameStop is like the one company that usually will have, if there is any DLC, it'll usually be for them. Nowadays it's usually spread out. Walmart wants their piece, and Amazon wants their unique DLC item. And I don't know how I feel about that, because it's like there's only so, with all that DLC coming, you can only buy one game from one store. What if I want all the DLC? But if it's one store, one DLC item, yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing. You can just have to pick it up at one store. Big deal. That having been said, if I have one complaint about them as of recently, I just want to talk about one thing in particular. And this is, again, not a knock on them, but I just want to, if anybody from GameStop is watching, I want you to listen to this. And again, like I said, I'm not knocking you, I'm not slamming you, but I do want to get these words out. It is so annoying to go in and buy something and have to be told 50 times over for a list of like 50 games of which I have no interest in. I know you think it might actually get you sales, but what it really does is piss off the customer. Let me tell you why. Okay, you go to McDonald's, for example. Let's just say I decide I want to go to McDonald's. I won't right now because I'm here, but I'm just saying, let's say I go to McDonald's, and I'm sure that GameStoppers have, the GameStop management probably has this mentality. If you go into McDonald's and you buy like a number one or something like that, they immediately ask you to supersize. You could decide you want to supersize or not. It's not going to annoy the customer, because all you're really asking them for is to get more of what they've already ordered. It might annoy them if you try to ask them, it might annoy them under some circumstances, but for the most part, that is not really annoying. Like, I went in today to just put some more money down on a pre-order that I had for the HD collection. I put down very, very little in the first place. That's why I wanted to pay it off. And the guy immediately asks me to pre-order down 2 games I had no interest in whatsoever. So it's really, I've seen some cases where you might be smart enough to actually get a game based upon what the guy is purchasing, that it's close enough that the guy might actually purchase it. But for the most part, it's just like, you're throwing balls, you're throwing like golf balls at a volleyball net or something like that. You're just going to keep going through. Occasionally you might hit between 2 strands or a strand of rope and something's going to deflect. But for the most part, you're just going to keep going through the net. The guy is not going to be interested in getting something he had no interest in the first place. And really, it's especially if you're persistent about it, it's only going to serve to annoy the customer. Who's, it's like, you got his business this time, yes. But he might not want to come back, at least not anytime soon after being annoyed by you last time. So, like I said, I'm not slamming you for doing this. I'm just saying somebody had to say it because, you know, maybe you don't know. You know, maybe you didn't know that this is how people feel about that sort of thing. It's just to educate, you know, it's just to educate people. Obviously, if you're a customer of GameStop and you don't have a problem with this, just post a comment. I want to read them. I really do. I want to know what's going on with what some people think. I want to know what a lot of the people who are watching this video think of GameStop. Like I said, I also actually have changed my mind. Originally, I wrote an article a while ago about the cards, the membership cards and stuff like that. I kind of had a negative initial feeling about them. But I actually, especially since the fact of GameStop has released those iPhone apps and stuff like that, just to monitor that kind of stuff and to have your whole library set up, I think it's been great because it ties into, it just makes it easier for you to do pre-orders. It makes it easy for you to manage all your accounts and stuff like that. And it's actually pretty reasonable, the amount of points that you get for your orders and stuff like that, to get cool little items and stuff like that, like promotional stuff, posters, figurines, collectibles, and that sort of thing. Even DLC and DLC codes. Great, you know. So their policies on what they did with the new reward zone system, what's it called, the power-up rewards, has actually been a pretty cool, pretty incentive, you know, pretty good service. So I'm actually grateful that they actually went through with the service and actually improved it to a point where I think it's great. I love the power-up rewards. It's also a lot of fun to keep going in every time and getting an extra few points on my iPhone and bringing those too. So it's great. It gives me an incentive to keep coming back. I think that's fantastic. So those are my feelings about GameStop. I want to thank you guys for listening. I want to hear what's going on with you. Please, like I said, I want to hear what you have to say, so please post a comment about it, and let's hear what you guys have to say too. So until next time, guys, this is Maniac with the Mind of Maniac. Please visit my site, GameAccess.net. Over and out, guys. Thanks for watching.